Did see quite a bit of the Georgia-Tennessee game. Was really impressed with Georgia's offensive line. Felt like the biggest difference maker. Carson Beck went virtually untouched, and guess what? He didn't throw 8 bajillion million picks. I know technically he hasn't thrown 8 bajillion million picks in a game this season, but he had 9 in like 4 games. So it was good to see from Georgia. It does create quite the hodgepodge of those SEC teams with Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Right now it looks like Tennessee will probably be the odd team out. But we'll see how it continues to
That's who you would leave out of the CFP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would you leave out?
Indiana. Like, you got to play somebody.
Does how they play against Ohio State factor into
If
your
they win,
overarching
no.
thought? Of course.
If they win, they're fine. But anything less than a win, like pull up Indiana's schedule and tell me how many bowl teams they've played. Right? They've played maybe 2 bowl teams. They're at a conference slate is a joke. Who knew there was a football playing team in Western Illinois? Indiana did. They found them. Charlotte is sitting there, 3-7. Florida International is sitting there at like 4-6 or something abysmal like that. You've got wins. You got a win over Illinois. And that Illinois team is doing a whole lot of resume saving for not just Indiana, but Penn State as well. Indiana has... Maybe Wisconsin gets bowl eligible. Maybe Washington. Maybe Michigan get bowl eligible. Right? And that's
Washington's
it.
playing a lot better. Washington has a real chance.
Washington's playing a lot better. Washington has a legit chance. Whatever. Is Washington 5-5? And there's 2 games left? So they're not bowl eligible. Right? Like that's Indiana. I think that is where I would go to look. I like rewarding people for at least attempting to play quality teams.
They're 6
Who? Washington is? Okay, so Washington is one of the 2 that's bowl eligible.
You want to know who's not bowl eligible?
Michigan?
Nebraska,
USC.
Did you know that was like I think it was their crazy stat. I can't remember the exact number, but they have upwards of 6 straight opportunities to become bowl eligible where they have lost the game that would have made them bowl eligible and losing to USC. USC homecoming. You don't walk into the Coliseum on USC's homecoming, think you're going to get that win.
What's the rest of USC's schedule? Could they get the bowl eligible?
Yes.
Okay.
But, they play Notre Dame and UCLA. I thought Oregon was going to lose to Wisconsin. They made it through.
Like 5 weeks ago, I said this is when I'll know about Oregon, the Wisconsin game. After you go through a pretty tough gauntlet of conference opponents, how do you handle this Wisconsin team? And as great as Oregon is and as great as they've been historically here, going back to, 2008, 2009, what have you, big physical teams have been a problem for them.
Yep.
And they just hadn't played a good version of that team yet. And let me tell you, you're in a conference where that's the good version of Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, throw Michigan State in there, Minnesota. Like they're having, Minnesota's having a decent year, but some of those teams are having down years right now. You'll have to play good versions of those at some point in time. And I question whether or not the style of play that Oregon is known for traditionally can hold up having to play good versions of those teams.
Their defense is legit. And what Dan Lanning has done from stacking up on those transfer portal guys, that's what impressed me from that game. BYU finally lost, so they're not undefeated more.
It felt like they were going to lose at some point.
We know when they knew they were going to lose this weekend. When Cosmo the Cougar almost gotten taken out by a golf cart, their mascot, one of the best mascots, I've said it before about BYU, very acrobatic, does some crazy gymnastic stunts every game. And Cosmo the Cougar almost got wha-bammed by a golf cart on the sideline, and that is when they should have known that they were going to lose to Kansas on Saturday night. It does set up the Big 12 in question, where is Colorado really going to do this? And they had another big win, another double-digit win for Colorado over the weekend. They're good enough where they don't have to play a perfect game and can still beat some of these bizarro Big 12 teams this year by double digits. Travis Hunter has cemented himself as the front runner for the Heisman Award because he's flashy. He's playing for a team that's winning down the stretch. Like Dylan Gabriel, sure, Oregon wins. They're still undefeated, but he didn't stat pad. And I know it shouldn't always be about the stat padding of it all, but it does play a part. And to have Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball, he had his Heisman moment. He got penalized for his Heisman moment. It does feel as if as long as God forbid he doesn't get hurt and Colorado keeps winning, it's his to win.
Look, he plays two positions at an elite
He's
level.
a unicorn. We don't see these.
No, we don't. Like that's why you win that's why he should win the Heisman. He is one of the best receivers in the nation and one of the best defensive backs in the nation. I hadn't looked at the college football season stats yet this week, but I would assume if I pulled them up, Travis Hunter would be first, second, or third in the Big 12 in receiving touchdowns and receptions, and probably top 15, top 20 in the nation in receiving touchdowns and receptions, while also being near the top of the nation in passes defended and leading the Big 12 in that category, while also being like third in the Big 12 in interceptions. I'm assuming that's what it would be. And if you got one player who's all of those things while also playing all of the snaps on the field, like, come on, man, that's your Heisman Trophy winner. I don't care what the quarterback does on the best team in any given year. Like, that dude, we don't make those. We don't see those a whole lot. And I'm going to be honest, I would throw Gentry in there over Dylan Gabriel as well. When you think about what he's doing right now and how everything is predicated on stopping him, and nobody can do it. They threw a graphic up. Let me see if I can find it. They threw a graphic up on the TV that talked about his yards against in the box from 6, 7, 8, and 9. And the only way to stop him is to put 9 players in the box. Yeah. It's incredible.
With 6, it's 7.2 yards per rush. I saw the same graphic. With 7, it's 10.2 yards per rush. With 8, it's 7.9 yards per rush. And then more than 9, it goes down to 2.2 yards per rush.
And some of that is probably because you're bringing in 9 dudes in the box, and my man only has 2 yards to go to get a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah. He is very much, for me, the difference between Hunter and Genty, like, it goes back to truly one-of-one unicorn status. We don't see this. Genty feels very MVP to me because what is Boise without Ashton Genty? And I thought them going down double digits, down 2 touchdowns to San Jose State, and then rolling with Genty, put the ball in your best player's hands, and he's a game changer, was so symbolizing of what he is for that team, whereas Colorado has pieces outside of Travis Hunter that have allowed them to get to this point where they are potentially competing for a Big 12 championship. But people sometimes forget, like, the Heisman Award is not an MVP award. Like, that gets muddled at different times.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m.